All right, guys, big show. Introducing TrackMan today into the show. One of the best pieces of technology ever in the game of golf.
Track. I used to run track in high school.
No, Tom, we're not running track in high school. This is TrackMan. This is a piece of technology.
So wait, we're running track today? Seriously?
No, we're not running track. We're taking this piece of technology out on the golf course with us today. This is Doppler radar.
That's 30,000 pulses per second or more, right? Yeah.
This is Jim Cantori.
Oh yeah, Jim Cantori.
No. We had Jim on previous show. Jim Cantori's not coming. TrackMan, Doppler radar. We're going to measure attack angle. We're going to measure club head path. We're going to measure club face angle. All of those things.
Oh, can I bring my micrometer and speed square?
No compass or protractor?
No.
Well, you're good to go.
All right.
Oh yeah. Hello everybody, welcome to the Stripe Show. I'm your host, Travis Fulton, episode 18, back here at the beautiful Jacksonville Golf and Country Club. And before we get to this week's show, I just want to say thank you for last week, our most viewed, liked, etc., show on social media that we've had thus far. In fact, I think we got about 11,000, 12,000 brand new Stripe heads coming here and watching us put on a show each and every week. We appreciate it. We got a great show for you here this week. I promise we're gonna have some fun. You're gonna get entertained. And you know what? You're gonna learn something too, because we're gonna introduce one of the best pieces of technology into the show this week, and it is called TrackMan. Check that out, Tom, right there. That little orange box right there is one of the best pieces of technology. You probably see it on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour. Every single week it tells us all kinds of information. We're not going to get into every single number that it gives us as it pertains to the ball, to the club. Instead, we're going to feed it to you slowly. We're going to talk about 3 numbers today: attack angle, club head path, and club face angle. And I want to start here on number 1 tee and talk about attack angle. This little tool here, TrackMan, it's taught me a lot about attack angle, how it influences the path of the club head, which we'll get to here in a second, but also how it influences the launch angle and spin, and more importantly, the distance. And I want to kick it off here with a little diagram that I want you to look at. Check this out. Here's the TrackMan driver fitting chart, carry optimizer, and this is a really neat chart to give you a feel for what attack angle can do for you. Now, on the left is club head speed, starting at 75, going to 95. At the end of the show, I'll share with you the chart that goes from 100 to 120. The second line, attack angle, right here, that's the number that we want to concern her with. You can see each one, -5, 0, +5. -5 is down, you're hitting down on it. 0 is level, +5 you would be hitting on the way up. Now let's come down here to 90 miles an hour. -5, 0, +5. And we're going to come over here to the carry number and look at the difference here. -5, the top line, carrying it 191 yards. 0, 203, +5, 214. So all things being equal, if you went from -5 and you went up to +5, which would be a huge change, but it gives you the idea, that's 23 yards in distance. So as people are hitting down, their attack angle is too steep, which is a lot of you, and you start to shallow out that attack angle, it starts to open up the opportunity for more distance, and it also helps hit more in the center of the face, which can really do wonders for your ball speed. And we know as that ball speed increases, now you're really maximizing all of that club head speed. The energy transfer is really good. Now, the final thing here as a rule of thumb is as you hit down and you come over here to this number here, the launch angle, you can see how -5, you'd be launching at 11, +5, 16. So as you hit up, you can launch the golf ball higher, and as you launch it higher, this next one here, you have the opportunity to spin it less. So you can see that top number, 3,689. That's a lot of spin. And the bottom there, 2,633. So the premise is you want to launch it as high as you can with little spin. And the key to doing that is back to this attack angle, learning how to get the attack angle to shallow it out. I really like this driver fitting chart, as it gives you a good idea of what a good attack angle can do for you in the way of distance. All right, how about that? -5, that's downward attack angle. The club head's moving down relative to the ground. 0, that's level to the ground. And then +5, that's on the way up. Amazing the difference as it pertains to your distance, carry, and total. Let's bring this to life here. I'm going to hit this first one with my driver, and I'm going to try to hit down on it. And I'm going to try to swing around 104, 105, somewhere in there. All right, so here we go. Take my setup here, and I'm going to consciously hit down. Yeah. So what I did, I tried to get out in front of it a little bit, ball back, and hit down on it. How'd I do, Justin?
Oh, you hit down? Yeah, you 104.9, so about 105.
Okay. Club head speed, 105.
Yep.
Okay.
And attack angle, -4.3.
Okay, so -4.3. That's a number I see a lot on the lesson tee. -4 down, -3, -2. We see that a lot. What was my carry?
229.2.
That's not very good for that club head speed. 229. Okay, and then the total.
243.7.
So we're losing distance here. I caught that a little high on the face. Okay, up in there, but those are not very good numbers for 105 club head speed. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tee it up just a little bit more, a little bit higher. And I'm going to try now to change my attack angle to more positive on the way up, but swing at the same speed. Here we go. Ball forward now. A little bit more behind it. Yeah, I hit that one really good. I caught that right in the center of the face there, Tom. And the speed was?
Your speed. 105.9.
105.9.
Yeah.
That's about the best here at the Stripe Show. Go ahead.
Attack angle, 2.2.
Positive.
Yes.
Okay, good.
2.2.
All right, so we changed the attack angle by 6 degrees. We went from -4 down to 2 degrees on the way up. Now, what was the carry?
Carry was 263.9.
Wow, 263. So that's just over 30 yards difference in carry in the total.
292.
Wow. Now, that's more like it for that speed. 292 total, and that's just under 50 yards of difference. And I caught those in similar spots, really. I didn't catch it way out on the toe or the heel. That's a big time difference in speed, or a big time difference in carry and total as far as distance is concerned. But what was the big number that we changed? Attack angle. I hit up on it more. So how do we do that, right? How do we change the attack angle? Well, the first thing that I did, I teed it up just a little bit higher, right? Oftentimes I see players, they get that high ball, they pop it up, a lot of spin, they start teeing it down low, right? That would be an adjustment that you could make. You could also start taking away loft on the face through the configuration. And those are adjustments you can make if you don't want to change your swing. But if we change our swing, we're going to tee it up a little higher. We're going to get the ball forward. Check this out here, Tom. I'm going to go feet together. I'm going to kick out this left foot, just a little flare in the left foot, and then a big step. Now, you hear me talk all the time here on the Stripe Show about the driver. Hands in line with the driver. Spine tilts. And I'm telling you, so many of you, check this out, Jaron from Target Line, you better turn your chest to the right a little bit and show me a little piece of this form. I see so many of you bury that form like that, and that gets you hitting down on it. So that is key in the setup position. Now, from there, give me some depth in the left arm. Watch this. Give me some depth. What's depth? This way. My left arm's going more that way. Okay? Not very much depth. A lot more depth. Okay, now that doesn't mean you just suck the club head inside. Fingernails on a chalkboard for me, you know that, right? Club head, get it out here a little bit, right out in front of you, then give me some depth in the left arm. I love that sequence. Check that out from face on here, Tom, when I do that. Club head goes out here a little, and then the left arm rounds out. And look at that turn. Nice turn in the hip, in the shoulder. So I like that. Now, from there, when you come into impact, I want to see two things here. Number one, I want to see the spine stay in a little bit of right bend, okay? Remember from setup, I said, give me a little bit of tilt to the right. When you hit it, I want you to feel like you're still there. I see a lot of you go to left bend. And when you go to left bend, you're gonna hit down on it. I promise you. Left bend, down. Little right bend, more on the way up. Second thing, when you swing through, I want to see a little extension. You've heard me talk about that here on the Stripe Show. This way, get that dish, extend, flexion, no good. You come into impact and you flex down like this, you stay down, again, you hit down on it. Left bend and flexing down steepens that attack angle. Too much negative. Right bend and extend, attack angle starts to come on the way up. I like that. For you at home, we set up, ball forward, hands in line, get here. Show me a little piece of that form from the target line, right? I tell you, get 4 or 5 degrees closed versus 1 degree open for most of you. From there, give me some depth. And then we're gonna stay in right bend, and we're gonna extend. And you know what? We're gonna give this a ride, Justin. Best one of the day right there. Hit up on that. I'm gonna guess, what, probably 3 degrees?
Give me 1 second. It's coming through.
I'm gonna guess, just make something up.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5, 2.5 on the way up, and just say 317 yards total.
289.4.
Well, 289. You can't get him to go there. I don't think it actually got it right. But we're going to go with 317 yards down the middle. You do that at home, okay? You get that attack angle more on the way up, and this club becomes really fun to hit. Thanks for joining us. Let's get to our first Show Us Your Swing. This one comes from my home state, back in the state of Idaho, Jim Tandy.
Hey Travis, this is Jim Tandy at Avondale in North Idaho. I have a problem pulling my drives. I'm wondering if you can help me out.
Hey Jim, thanks for the video, man. Doing a lot of good stuff in your swing here. I recognize that driving range, and I want to show you just a couple things here. Got that green line on the shaft plane, and you can see your club gets kind of underneath it quick, right? So it gets a little under it and to the inside behind you pretty quickly. Now from here, and you can see how deep that left arm in, meaning that left arm is a fair amount behind you early in the backswing. Now from here, when you come back down, this club's going to want to get back now out in front, right? So it comes down a little bit steeper than it went back. And I think that swing shape or that pattern can cause some of those pulls. So what I want to do is, the first thing is I want to make sure you're tilted behind it first at address. You look a little bit stacked up with your spine. I want to make sure we get a little more tilt to the right. And then I want to show you how to get this club a little bit more out in front of you here. Okay, so it's a little closer to that green line. This camera angle is not perfect. It's a little high, but I want to show you how to get the club a little bit more out in front of you, and then from there, how to get that club to work back down underneath that. And I think if we can kind of reverse that swing shape a bit with a little bit of spine tilt at address, I think that'll really help you get the club face looking more down the target line and eliminate that pull. Here it comes.
Jimmy, good stuff. I recognize that range there in northern Idaho. We appreciate you sending in your video, and I want to help you here. You're pulling it a little bit, right? I saw your notes there, and when we pull it, we know that club face is probably looking a little left of the target, but we can also catch it out on the toe a little bit. When you hit it on the toe, the gear effect kind of kicks in. The ball wants to go more to the left. Conversely, if you catch it in on the heel, the ball has a tendency wants to go to the right. So what can we do to help you catch it more in the center of the face and get that club face looking more down the target line, or maybe even just a little to the right, so then you can get that path to the right and draw it back to the left. So let's go to the target line here. This is a swing shape that we see a lot here in the Stripe Show, and I certainly see a lot on the lesson tee, where you see the club kind of get in behind the player quickly, right? You'll see the club kind of like this, and then when it comes down, you'll notice the shaft here, when it comes down, it's on top of that, right? Now, you don't have a huge move this way, but it is that shape. It does kind of get in here, and then you can see the club when it comes down, it wants to get on top of that. I think we should try to reverse that just a little bit. Get the club to be a little bit more, say, this way, and then try to get that to lay down back underneath it, right? So we're going to reverse that. So instead of in and then back down on top, we're going to go a little bit more out here or up here, a little more vertical, and then back down underneath that from the inside. And you can just see how that's going to get the club face looking more out to the right. So do that slowly, Jim. Do it slow and take it back where you can sense the club head a little bit more out in front of you. Just notice how slow I'm doing this. Sense the club head a little bit more out in front of you. Sense the shafts a little closer to vertical. It doesn't have to be vertical, right? And then from there, sense the shafts start to lay down. See how it's doing it horizontally. We don't need all these contraptions. I'm just walking you through it, doing it slow, so you can get a sense of where that club is in space. Okay? Then do it the wrong way. Then do it the right way. Okay? Get the sense of that. Get set up. Start that golf ball more to the right. I get a mulligan. Jim, I get a mulligan. You know why? Because I share it here on the Stripe Show, 18 Birdies Facebook. Every time you share the show, you get a mulligan with your friends. I didn't hit that one very good. I'm on the first tee, so I get a mulligan. I'm the host. There it is. There it is. Started out to the right and drawing back to the left. That's going to help you, Jim. Thanks for the video. Time for Show Us Our Swing number 2, Jared Murphy.
All right, hey Jared, Travis here. Thanks for the video. I want to help you with your notes there that you left in overswinging the club. You also mentioned overactive legs. I wouldn't worry about the legs so much. When you look here from down the line, I wouldn't say your legs are too active there. I wouldn't say they're too active coming through. But what I do want to help you on is how to shorten that up a little bit to the top of the swing. It looks like when you get to the top, your spine definitely is leaning left towards the target here. And as your spine leans too much to the left, you can get your hands kind of behind the head too much and the club gets a little bit too long. But you look very flexible, and usually with a swing that's too long, you'll lose structure in the arms and all of that. But you're really doing a pretty nice job with the structure. So I'm going to show you how to keep your spine a little more to the right, and then also how to get your right elbow to be a little bit more out in front of you. So your elbow a little bit more out this way in front of the chest. And I think those two things will really help you shorten up the swing. You got a lot of good things going on. Club coming down's in a nice spot. You rotate well. So a lot of good things in your swing. So here comes 2 things to help shorten it up.
All right, Jared, good stuff. A lot of nice things in your swing, particularly from the target line view. As I mentioned, you got a good shape to your swing, right? You got the club out here nicely, good at the top, comes back down nice, into the exit plane. Well done. Now, your notes were how do you shorten up, right? Club was a little bit long. You can probably shorten it up a little bit. I want to give you 2 things. It looks like your spine is leaning a fair amount towards the target as you go to the top of the swing. So for you, that would be left bend. Here's left bend, here's right bend. Okay, so you set up, and then as you turn, it looks like you're really cranking your spine a bit to the left. Now, the more your spine goes to the left, then of course that's going to want to take the club along with it. So I think you're a candidate at address just to have a little bit of right bend, and then just feel like you kind of stay there, right? Now here would be an exaggeration of right bend, and I don't think you're going to go there, but I do think that's going to help shorten you up. A little right bend at address, and then kind of staying kind of more this way rather than cranking the spine that way. The second thing, from the target line, this elbow, okay? This right elbow is kind of retracting behind you probably a little too much. A little bit of that's not the end of the world, but when you look at this elbow and it really retracts back here behind, the more it gets back here like that, then that's going to really open that up and get you long as well. So getting this elbow to fold more this way rather than that way will keep it more out in front of you. Okay, so I feel like my elbow is kind of kicking here rather than retracting. You might even kind of give it a little pinch there, a little shirt pinch, right? Take it up there. Elbow still can come away. It's not like tucked to your body. It can still come away, but it feels a little more pinched here and out in front. And I think that countered with a little more right bend will help shorten things up. Now, as you work on those two things, do some stop and goes. So go to the top, feel the right bend, feel the elbow, swing through. Okay, give it a pause, quantify it. Go to the top, right bend, elbow, feels 3/4, swing through. I like those two things. I think it'll shorten things up a bit for you at the top. And I think it'll make things a little bit more repeatable through impact. Really appreciate you sending in your video. You're probably wondering at home, hey, I need some help. I need some advice on my swing. How do I get involved? Well, check this out. Hey there, Travis Fulton here with the Stripe Show. You want to get involved? What's on your mind? Send me a question, tweet it to @18Birdies app, or email it to the Stripe Show at 18birdies.com. But perhaps you really need some help. I want you to send me a video. And in that video, I want you to tell me what the tendencies are with your ball flight so I can help you. Film your swing from face on, where you're looking at me just like this, or the target line. One of these two angles is what I need to see to give you some good feedback. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a deal. I'm going to show you my swing. Now I want you to show us your swing. Let's get involved. Send me your swing. I'll put you right here on the Stripe Show, give you good information, and get you moving in the right direction. That's what it takes. You got to get good info, and you got to put it in the right order, just like we did with Jim Tandy, just like we did with Jared Murph. We got some more Show Us Your Swings coming up here in a little bit on the show. But remember, like us here on 18 Birdies Facebook and share it. If you share it, you get a mulligan. Remember, that's how we do it here, courtesy of me. Tell your friends. If they don't like it, have them give me a call, 904, no, I'm kidding, right? But take this and work on some of these things. If you're stuck with your swing and you need some individual help, well, send me a video and we'll get you going. All right, back to TrackMan. All right, TrackMan is good. We've already done a segment on the driver. We talked about attack angle and how that influences distance, big time difference earlier in the show. Now we're going to talk about club head path. Which way is the path of the club head moving from the target line here? Which way is this club head path moving relative to our target line? And we know that the more the club head path, say, is out to the right, a positive number out to the right relative to the target line, that's going to encourage a draw, right? I can push the ball a little bit to the right, I can hit some blocks, but it's going to encourage more of a draw type of spin. Conversely, if I get the path of the club working more to the left, a negative number, well, I can hit some poles, of course, but that's going to encourage more of a slice. Now, as we talk about club head path, there's two factors that are going to go into this that are going to give us this number here for club head path. The first, attack angle. Remember attack angle? We were talking about that with a driver. Well, Your attack angle influences the club head path. The more you hit down with the attack angle, it encourages the club head path. It affects it to the right. So I hit down, it moves the path to the right. I hit up, it moves the path to the left. So we have to take that in consideration. Attack angle influences club head path. Now, swing direction, more commonly known, affects the path of the club as well. So see this 3-wood here? That 3-wood, that's my target line. And then I got the iron on the ground, the steel shaft. We're going to call that our swing direction. Which way is the club head swinging at the low point relative to that target line? I could step up in here and I could swing the club head, the swing direction, and have it pointing kind of more down the target line. That would be 0. I could have the swing direction at the low point pointing more out to the right. Okay, you can see how I did that. You can see the swing direction is moving more to the right. And then, of course, I can have the swing direction going a little bit more to the left. Okay? So the swing direction is going to affect the path. Let's say every degree I swing to the right affects the path a degree to the right, and every degree I swing to the left is going to affect the path to the left. All right, so let's have some fun here. We're going to set up. Justin, you got it there?
Yep.
The first one, I'm going to try to swing the club head, and I'm just going to try to keep it simple here, right down the target line. We're going to try to have a swing direction that's around 0. Okay?
All right, yeah, it's about 1.
About 1?
About 1.
Okay, so swing direction was 1 degree. So just slightly to the right, but the attack angle was what?
-4.9.
-4.9. Remember I said the more you hit down, the more it affects the path to the right. So we have to take that into consideration. Now my path was what?
Your path was 3.3.
3.3 to the right. So you would think, wait a minute, you swung 1 degree to the right, not much. Shouldn't my path be 1 degree to the right? But it's actually more to the right because I hit down on it. My attack angle was down, which it should be with an iron. Okay, so that was a path that was like 3 or 4 degrees to the right. Now, let's go scenario number 2. I'm going to try to take my swing direction and I'm going to try to move it to the right on the downswing. So I'm going to set up down the target line, but now I'm going to try to take my swing direction and move it more out to the right, but I'm still going to hit down on it. So I could really feel more out to the right, and that was?
Swing direction, about 6, 5.7.
Oh, wow, 5.7 to the right, but I still hit down.
You did, -2.6.
-2.6, not as much. Makes sense, right? Kind of shifted it more under here, not as much down, but that path's got to be a bigger number.
Yeah, 7.1.
7.1. Okay, so 7.1 to the right. Now, the bigger that number gets to the right, off of 0, theoretically, the bigger the dispersion. If you're a slicer and you're trying to learn how to hit a draw all day, right here, target line, all day, get in here, take that swing direction to the right, hit down on it a little bit, get that number jacked up 6 or 7. But if you're too much that way and you're too much of a push hook, well, we got to start moving the swing direction back to the left. So what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to take this. You see this, Jared, here? I'm going to take this. I'm going to move it on the other side, and I'm going to try to get this swing direction a little bit more to the left now. So I'm going to come down, and I'm going to try to get the exit plane a little bit more to the left. All right? So here we go. See if I got it in me here. Okay, so I felt like the club still shallowed, but I let things kind of exit and took the swing direction more over here to the left, and the verdict is?
-1.
-1.
Yeah.
Okay. So -1, that felt like a lot to me. My tendency is a little out to the right. But I did move the swing direction to the left, but I still hit down.
-4.5.
-4.5.
Yeah.
What was my path?
1.7.
1.7 positive.
Yes.
How about that? 1.7 positive. I'll take that. That would be a slight little draw all day. But think about that. I actually had a slightly left swing direction, and the path was still positive 1 degree, and that's because I hit down on it a little bit. So what players do is they try to zero out that path. They try to get that path, say 1.5, 2 degrees on either side of zero, and that gives them a tight dispersion. So if you're at home and you're like, man, I'm too much of a push hook, well, get in here and let's get the swing direction working a little bit more to the left. You know what that's going to do? It's going to zero out your path. And you're going to get the ball to start straight with less curve. Now, where are my slicers? Where are my slicers? Let's go. Let's go big time. Let's go big time. Still going to aim down the target line, but I'm going to really crank this baby to the left. Ah! Look at that. Starts left and slicing back to the right. My swing direction was?
-5.7.
Okay.
Close to 6.
-5.7. That was way to the left, right? Attack angle.
Still -4.9.
-4.9. So it didn't steepen too much. I still was showering out the shaft, which is nice, right? And the path was?
-3.2.
So it was -3.2. So I moved it far enough left. I took the swing direction far enough left, still hitting down to get the path to the left. So how do you practice it? Let's go to the target line here. How do you practice this? Set up. Get your target line. Get your swing direction. Okay, match them up. Hit shots where you feel like you're just swinging the club head at zero. Kind of down the target line. What's the ball flight doing? Then take the swing direction and move it to the right. Have some fun. Feel like you're still looking down the target and move the swing direction out to the right. Then try to zero it out, meaning try to set up and swing just a little bit to the left and see if you can hit a straight shot, and then finally take it all the way out there, crank it hard to the left, and hit your slice, okay? Discover within the context of that, it's factoring in attack angle, it's factoring in swing direction, and as you do that, what's the ball flight telling you? How far do you have to swing to the right with the swing direction to hit your draw? How much do you have to swing to the left to hit a straight shot? It may not even be left for you. It might be a little to the right, depending upon where you're at. And then how much do you have to swing hard to the left to hit your slice? Now, I know that's a lot to chew on, but that's the way club head path works. And that's what we've learned from TrackMan, is to factor those things in. I love working these 4 shots and for the player to self-discover what it means to you. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's go to show us your swing number 3, and this is Jason Crook.
Oh, I like it. The right distance.
I like
Get on.
it.
Do it. Do it. Good try.
Hey Jason, Travis here. Cool stuff, man. Thanks for the video. Travelers Championship there, caddying for DA points. Really cool stuff. Let me give you a couple things to work on here. Really nice job with this first move. Club head's working out in front. Looks like the club face gets a little bit open at the top up here. That toe maybe hanging down just a little bit. And then coming down as a result of that, you'll see a little bit of a flip right here. So a little bit of a scoop with the right hand to try to square it up, and that'll slow down some rotation with your hips coming through. You got a really good swing shape, though. I love this first move here. Club at the top. Look at the club coming down, right back on that toe line. Nice. So really good swing shape. I want to show you how to get the club face in a little more of a square to slightly closed position up here, which will put you in a position then when you come down to impact, where then you can lean the shaft a little more forward and rotate these hips right here, these hips a little bit more aggressively through impact. And I think those two things, getting the club face a little bit more closed and then leaning that shaft forward at impact with hip rotation, will give you a lot more power, lower the ball flight, and I think really allow you to increase your ability to strike the golf ball consistently. So awesome stuff. Appreciate you sending the video, and here comes your plan.
All right, Jason, cool stuff there at the Travelers, the floating green to the umbrella. We got you covered here at the Stripe Show, Jacksonville Golf and Country Club. Look at this, number 17. Beautiful hole here, surrounded by water up there. So we're going to hit a shot very similar to what you're just doing there up in Connecticut. Now, I mentioned that the club shaft was kind of leaning back a little bit. And what I mean by that, when we go to face on here, if I come into impact, we see this a lot where we come in here and we have to kind of let the club shaft out. The shaft kind of leans this way rather than the shaft wanting to go more this way. We know we'd get a much better strike with forward shaft lean. And to start promoting more forward shaft lean, a lot of that depends on club face angle. If we go back to the target line here, I think as you look up here to the top, the club face is just kind of borderline open, and then as you come down, the face starts to kind of hang out a little bit more this way. See the toe, kind of how it's kind of back behind me. And a lot of that is from that lead wrist condition. It's got a little too much cup in it. So I think one of the things that you could do is as you go up to the top of the swing is start to kind of flatten out this left wrist, whether you do it at the top or you're doing it coming down, and try to get this toe a little bit more curled in. See that? See how that toe starts to kind of curl in a little bit? That left wrist is a little more bowed out. And that positions you now, as we go to face on, where you can start turning and lean the shaft forward. When the face is open, I bring it down and that toe's there. Oftentimes I come into impact, look at, if the shaft was forward, the face is looking too much off to the right. So what do? You got to let it out, right? So I like that lead wrist. Start to get a little bit of curl, right? So the toe is a little bit more down, and then turn and hit it. And that'll give you a little bit more forward shaft lean at impact. So I like that. Little club face control. That's going to be a good segue here momentarily when we get into that with TrackMan. But before we get to that, it's time for this week's 18 Birdies feature shot tracking.
Hey guys, Randy from 18Birdies here, and I want to show you how to use shot tracking. In order to use shot tracking, you'll need to turn on strokes gained scoring in your round settings. Turning this on will enable you to track shots, but you can still use the classic scoring mode by tapping the pencil to track your score and stats. To track a shot, tap the Add Shot button while you're standing where your ball is at rest. You can do this before or after you hit. From here, select the lie you hit from and your club. You also have the ability to select the shape of your shot and height you hit on the right-hand side of the screen. When you're finished, tap Done. After this, walk or ride to your ball and tap the Add Shot button again. This second tap finishes tracking that one shot. You will get visual feedback on the GPS to show that your shot has been tracked, just like you can see here.
Shot tracking, that's one of my favorite features in the 18 Birdies app. Use that the next time that you play. All right, time for 14 strong. We do it every week here. We got 14 clubs. We got to make them strong, but I got to tell you, we've been going strong all show long. Talked attack angle, we talked club head path, and now we're going to talk club face angle because TrackMan measures that. But before we get to that, Tom, check out my new shiny bag here. Like the looks of that? Look at that. The Stripe Show, courtesy of 18 Birdies. I love my new bag. We appreciate you joining us here on the show. Be sure to like us and share on 18 Birdies Facebook. And if you do that, remember, I'm going to send you a free mulligan that you can use the next time that you play. 14 strong, I'm going to go 8 iron. We got our friend here, TrackMan. TrackMan, it measures so many things, but it also measures club face angle. Which way is the club face looking at impact, right? I've got my target line. If I hit a shot and that club face is looking down the target, that would be 0. If I come into impact and the club face is looking to the right, that'd be a positive number, and then a negative number would be to the left, all right? So it measures so many things. Club face angle is important because we need to factor in club face angle when it pertains to starting direction. Which way is this club pointing at impact is going to primarily be which way that golf ball starts, right? And we also need to know that in relationship to our path. If we have a path going to the right, what is our face angle relative to that so it's drawing back? And then of course if it's going to the left, the path, what is our face angle relative to that? So path and face are so important. I want to talk about club face control here in 14 strong. And Jason was great in his previous video, because he's someone that we see a lot where the club face gets too open, and then as they come down to impact, they'll square it up by letting the shaft out, right? So in this 14 strong, we want shaft lean, right? We want shaft lean at impact. When we lean the shaft forward, it de-lofts the face. And for so many of you at home, that would go so far in your ability to strike the golf ball more solidly, longer, more accurate, etc., etc., etc. Shaft lean is critical. And to do that, for so many, we got to get the club face more square or maybe a little closed. So if we go to the target line, here's what a square club face looks like. Look at that toe, just slightly down. That's what an open club face looks like. Square. Let's go to the top. That's what a square club face looks like. Okay, that's what an open club face looks like. All right? If I see an open face, I'm usually going to see one of two things. I'm either going to see this. You'll see the club go out here, the swing direction really work hard to the left. And when we do that, that gets the club face kind of looking relatively far enough to the right. Okay? Now, the second thing we see with that open face, and we saw it from Jason, he would come in here pretty good, the path was pretty good, but then he would just let it out. Because if he came in and leaned the shaft forward, the face would be looking too far to the right. So we got to get that face more close. How do we do that? Well, two things. One is you can make your grip a little stronger. You can move your left hand a little over to the right. See that there, Tom? You can see my left hand's kind of a little more over to the right. Right hand's a little bit more underneath. We see a lot of weak grips, and that'll open the face up. So we can move our hands a little more to the right, and that'll get the club face more closed. Or we can change our wrist angles. And you hear me talking a lot here on the stripe show, if we go to the target line, in getting the left hand to be a little flatter or a little bit more on that bowed side where we're curling, right? Look at that club face. Club face is starting to look more to the sky. It starts to shut, right? So a lot of combinations that I like is really just getting the grip to be, a little over here to the right, and then getting that left hand to kind of work under so the toe is slightly down. And then as we get to the top, we put all the bend in the right hand, and we really flatten out that left hand, and we get that club face looking square or maybe a little closed. We're going to get the club face looking up to the sky. And as we do that, that really sets the stage and really starts to incentivize you to come down more from in here and lean the shaft forward. Because if you took that club face that was square, a little closed, and you let it out, you're going to hit that house over there. That doesn't work, right? So what you would learn to do is start to turn. And Jason will start turning better and delivering that face angle square with shaft lean because the club face was more square or a little closed going back. So get that neutral grip. Maybe a little strong for some of you. Get that club face square, get that left wrist flat, and then turn and lean that shaft forward. And if you can do that, whoa, that felt really good. Justin, that's like 3 feet from the flagstick, and look at the divot out in front of the golf. I think I'm going to go ahead and incorporate a little bit of that into my swing. And I'm telling you, it's a game changer for so many of you. If you take what I just did right there with the club face angle, the grip and the wrist angles, and leaning the shaft forward, it's going to help you so much. You know who else knows a little something about all this? One of the top young teachers in today's game. You probably see him on social media. It's Shaheen Nakjavana. He is one of the best young teachers, really talented guy. He was kind enough to be our guest instructor here on the Stripe Show. So our Show Us Your Swing number 4 is coming from Shaheen.
All right, James, so we're going to clarify some things in your swing right here, okay? First things first, in this setup, I would like to see you actually almost feel like you tuck your tushy inwards this way. When golfers have a tendency of pushing their glutes out to the back behind them, they end up with this curvature in their lower spine, and that can not only create posture problems, it can give you a lot of pain in your lower back long term. So I would rather you actually feel like you're tucking your glutes inwards as opposed to sticking them out, okay? Aside from that, there's a lot of really good stuff happening here. I mean, I do like a lot of this club face conditions in the takeaway. Obviously, your wrist angles are great, and they are paired together in a way that keeps the club face from opening up, which is always a good sign. And really, as you get to the top of your backswing, good load of the lower body here, really good conditions. Obviously, the club face, you can see it there. It's a little bit on the close side. I'm not necessarily against that. Really, where the issue lies is that from this point here in the swing, you'll see quite a bit of a steepening of the shaft coming down. So the shaft is getting more and more vertical as we get down towards this position here. And what ends up happening is, because the shaft is getting more and more vertical, that also means the club head is wanting to kick more and more out in front of the hands in the downswing. So some golfers would call that over the top. I don't like to use that term, but that's what a lot of people would understand it as. And so when the shaft gets vertical and the club head kicks outside the hands, if you actually rotate it well, you would probably hit a big pull. So what golfers end up doing is they start reacting to this subconsciously, their body, and they'll start to actually extend the spine upwards in an effort to try to keep the club head back and avoid pulling the ball. So you'll actually see here how your spine extends quite a bit and your body actually stalls the rotation. So your chest is very close at impact here. You can see your shoulder alignments are way out to the right. Obviously, you don't have much hip rotation either. And so this is giving you the best chance to hit the ball straight. Really, in the fall through, when you see all of this happening where the chest is hanging back and there's a chicken wing happening in the fall through, all of these things really are just byproducts of the shaft getting more vertical in the downswing, and your body is doing its best to avoid hitting pulls. So the spine extending and the chest staying closed is almost like an anti-pull move. If you got this shaft to avoid steepening and actually get the club head to drop a little more behind you coming down, you would be able to rotate a little more effectively, and a lot of those issues would go away.
All right, James, very simple drill we're going to do for your shaft movement, but I just want to explain to you a simple concept about the lower body first, okay? When we take our setup and we stick our glutes really out and behind us, what ends up happening is we're putting a lot of pressure on the lower spine, and that could not only create posture issues, but it's going to make us get really, really hurt long term. So what golfers end up doing is it's hard to retain this position in the swing, and they end up releasing the pressure by pushing everything up and forward. But now you're coming out of the shot, you're throwing all your angles, there's a lot of timing involved in that type of pattern. What I want you to do is actually feel like you tuck your glutes a little bit inwards, almost underneath your pelvis. So it's going to feel like, okay, if I'm standing here and my glutes are being stuck outwards this way and there's a lot of pressure on my spine, I almost want you to feel like you tuck them in and get just a little bit more vertical. All of a sudden now, if I'm flexing the abs and I'm tucking the glutes in, I'm a little more rounded with the spine, and I'm removing a lot of the pressure that I was feeling in my lower back. It'll be a lot easier for you to retain that pattern and obviously not get injured. Now, in terms of the shaft movement, very simple drill. Take an alignment stick and put it in the ground around 45 degrees further from our target. So if I'm swinging towards this driving range here, the alignment stick is closer to the camera in this view. All I want you to do is line it up roughly to the ball line here. So the ball line would be the line that the ball takes off in. And I just want you to make sure that when you make these golf swings, that you feel the same kind of backswing that you're already feeling, where your hands and club head are coming underneath and inside the stick. But I want you to make sure that they also come underneath and inside in the downswing as well. Your natural tendency that you're doing, and you can exaggerate this by actually putting it even more shallow, the natural tendency you have is you're almost pulling this guy out and in front of you, right? So the shaft is getting vertical, the club head wants to kick outside your hands, and you would end up doing what? Either rotating well and hitting big pulls or a weak fade, depending on your club face, or golfers tend to come out of the shot and jump up in an effort to try to get the club head to drop behind the ball at the last second, but that's still creating a lot of problems. If you did that, you would either end up above the stick or hit it on the way down. We're going to exaggerate shifting our path more to the right. We're going to exaggerate dropping this club head a little more behind our body in the downswing. Very simple drill. Get this guy at a 45-degree angle, 6 to 12 inches outside our back foot, further from the target. And you just want to make sure when you make these swings that you're feeling like you're coming from underneath and inside. You can see how shallow I'm getting and how much deeper my hands are. I'm going to push the path way out to the right, and I'll actually hit a little bit of draws long term if my club face is under control. So in your case, your club face is fine, not an issue. Work on this, very simple drill. Get your path moving to the right. You'll be good to go.
Hey, thank you so much, Shaheen. Great stuff. Keep up the good work. Look for Shaheen in this industry for years to come. One of the talented young teachers that we have. All right, time for 60-second swing fix. We've talked about a lot of stuff here today, some heavy lifting with TrackMan, but it's important, and I hope there's a few takeaways for you here after watching the show. Now, time to self-discover, pick one thing, implement it into your routine, and go play some golf this week. We got 60 seconds, Justin.
On the clock.
All right, here we go. So here's my routine. I'm on the course. For me, what I take out here is making sure I make a nice full turn into my right hip. So I'm back here. I've got my shot here. I've got my club. And I'm going to rehearse that. Watch this, Tom. I'm going to rehearse that. Making sure that I get loaded up over here. I want to feel that. I might even exaggerate that a couple times. Get the sense of that. I've discovered that on the practice tee for me. Now, from here, got my line. I'm going to walk in.
30 seconds.
I'm going to aim that face. I'm going to get comfortable. One waggle. Set it down. Two waggles. Set it down. Off I go. That's my routine. Here we go. Come on back. Ready? Here we go. Yeah.
10.
There it is. That's my routine. Work on the range, make some discoveries, implement one of those things, and bring it out here and hit shots and have some fun. Talked about some serious stuff today here on the Stripe Show. It's time for final exam. Here it comes. All right, guys, final exam. You guys did really good today. I got 3 questions. Question number 1. Do you want to hit down or up on your driver to maximize distance, Tom?
Yo, I'm down with it, homie. No, you want to get up on it.
That's right. You want to hit up on it, right? When you hit up on it, now you can hit it longer. Jaron, do you want to hit up or down to maximize distance with your driver?
Up.
That's right, man. Good job. All right, you want to hit up on it. All right, question number 2. We also said attack angle affects the path. So for every degree, Jaron, you hit down on it. Let's go simple math. Hit down 1 degree, it's going to affect the path 1 degree to the right. So if you hit 2 degrees down, how many does that affect the path to the right? You guys can do this one together.
It's 1, 2. It's 3.
1.
What is 1?
What is 1?
It's 2.
It's 2.
It's 2.
I told you.
It's 2. It's 2. You hit 2 degrees down, it affects the path 2 degrees to the right. Right? Now also, swing direction is no, we'll come back. Let's come back. We'll come back to that. Let's go to question number 3. All right, question number 3. We talked club face. Right? TrackMan also measures club face angle. And we said club face angle is where the golf ball starts. So if we want the ball to start at our target, should we have the club face square to our target, open to our target, or closed to our target?
What was the first choice again?
I can't remember.
Is all of the above an option?
All the above.
All the above. No, it's not all the above. If the club face starts the ball, we want the club face square to our target,
Yes.
Yes.
open to our target,
Yeah. No.
or closed to our target.
Closed.
I'm open to a lot of things. I don't want to be a golfer. I want to make movies.